Metro 2033 is a first-person shooter survival horror set in the ruins of Moscow after a nuclear war, where survivors are forced to live in underground metro tunnels. The game is linear, but the players can mostly decide whether they want to take a run-and-gun approach or a stealthy approach. The game has a variety of enemies, ranging from mutated creatures called the Dark Ones that vary in size and attack, and human enemies that belong to different factions. In the level Outpost, near the middle of the game, the player enters an area that is full of neo-Nazis of the Fourth Reich faction. This specific encounter takes place in a ruined building with several Nazis stationed or patrolling in the inside. These Nazis are ranged enemies and each hold a weapon, usually an assault rifle. Depending on how the player wants to go about the encounter, they can be rowdy or stealthy. If they choose to be rowdy, the Nazis will ring a bell alarming all nearby enemies. This will make the entire encounter a bit more difficult, as the enemies will not hesitate to shoot you on sight, and everyone in the vicinity is aware of your presence. If the player decides to take a stealth route, then they may have an easier chance of not being killed, if they take the right steps and don't mess up. So here's a quick play-by-play of the stealth route. When the player walks in, they are out of the sight lines of both of these enemies. The only real way a player can do the stealth route is if they have throwing knives, and ammo is scarce, so they'll have to make sure not to lose any of them, because a stealth approach without throwing knives would be very difficult. And here I take a peek at the enemies that are ahead of me, and they're perfectly placed so that they don't look in my direction. Now that I've taken care of these two, I restock on my throwing knives. And one thing to remember about this encounter is that there's a lot of audio cues letting the player know exactly where enemies are. And the way this building is set up is that there's a lot of ruins and cover that the player can hide behind to make sure they're never spotted. And if they do mess up like I did earlier, they can always hide and wait until everyone has lost interest in you. Now, I like this part specifically because you have to fall down this hole, and then you break this table that makes a lot of noise, which attracts one of the Nazis over, so you can easily take him out. And for this section, I just decided to go all out because I knew there was no way I was going to avoid this. And I died already multiple times. So I decided to take the rowdy route in the end. So finally I clear all of the enemies left and exit the building, thus finishing this entire encounter. Overall, I think this encounter is really good because it gives the player agency on how they want to approach it, and there's always room for human error, so if they do mess up a stealthy route such as I did, they can get overwhelmed, and it's all up to the player really if they want to take it slow or if they want to go hard, and everything is well laid out so that the player doesn't get lost or feel that they can't complete this level. And that's something I really like about it. So, thanks for watching.